All right, guys. So we're back here at Just Figuring It Out podcast. We got a very special episode today with Dr. Robert McGrath.
What's going on?
What's going on,
What's
Rob?
going on? Happy to be here, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Welcome to have you, man.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I've been on this planet for 54 years.
Okay.
Seems like a little longer. Training now, and I had to think about this. I thought about this morning. I've been training collectively for about 42 years now. Yeah,
42 years.
42. So
Say breathe for 42 years.
Yeah.
Salute you, killing it.
started when I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so real quick, what got you start? Like, what attracted you to fitness to realizing at 12? Because most 12-year-olds are not trying to do that. What got you into that?
Great question. So I was an ice hockey player. So never wanted to be anything else. Had no plan B. That was it. So whatever I had to do to help facilitate that goal, that's what I did. So back then at 12, it was largely dry land, body weight type of things, a little bit of weights, a little bit of dumbbells, but not much. So that was my introduction into it. And I guess maybe a couple years later, there was a summer that went by, and my father was very, very type A. He's that pushed that grind and told me that I looked like a pear.
Okay. That's something you can't forget.
Yeah.
No,
You look
to
like a
this day-
pear.
to this day. So to this day,
So you
I am. Yeah, I am the anti-pear. So that's really what that just stuck with me.
Well, you can see. I don't obviously know your father, but you can see where that A type might have worked on you, just because the way that you work
Yeah.
is very much so A type. No BS, no playing around.
Yep.
Guys, take a look at his Instagram. You will see all the results from that. Yeah, it definitely seems very A type.
It
So-
is.
so both-
Yeah, so I'm highly structured.
Sure.
But everything that to get where, from point A to point B, I think that you have to have a plan. Like if you don't have a plan, you're not going to get there. I mean, everybody can climb a ladder, but if the ladder's on the wrong wall, you're not going to get to the top. But
Yeah.
like, what's there for you? So you have to have a structured plan. So I still follow that to this day.
Structures.
Yeah.
Important ingredient for success.
It's huge.
So what would you say your why was to keep on going for all those years?
So it's changed over the years.
Okay.
Dramatically.
Mhm.
So initially it was just to reach the top in playing ice hockey, and I got there for a couple of years. I played and earned a paycheck for it. And
Oh,
then
okay.
when that came to an end, I still had that drive in me, but I had nowhere to focus it. So I focused it on school. So I went back to school and finished, and got my degrees, and then I started competing with bodybuilding. So did that for a few years.
How old were you at that time with bodybuilding?
So that was I stopped playing when I was 19. So 20 years old. It was when I started and competed for a couple of years. State shows, that was it. Never went on past that. But yeah, I just kept that drive and discipline and focus. So that was it. And then from there, that's really changed over the years. I mean,
Sure.
once you have a family, I mean,
Sure.
my whole purpose and direction has changed.
Yeah, understandably.
Now, in your years of fitness, or even with hockey, was there ever a point where you were just completely fatigued, where you just stopped,
Yeah.
or where you took a break? Like everyone takes a hiatus at some point in their fitness
You
career.
get forced into a break.
Oh,
Yeah.
with that too. Yeah.
So more of forced into the break. Because I was and this is really with everything. So I'm not the most gifted individual. So intellectually, physically, like everything that I have,
You work for it.
I'll just put my head down. So I graduated with a doctoral degree, magna cum laude, but I was not gifted. Like I had to drive everything into my head twice as long as anybody else. So
You had to talk it into existence.
yeah, learning disability as a kid, like, and I guess you don't get rid of dyslexia, but like, so, all that stuff, I just carried it with me. And,
Yeah.
physical issues that I've had as a
Mhm.
kid. So both of my feet were casted. So, I learned to walk with a bar in between my feet.
Mm.
So I would have been, like severely
Mm.
pigeon-toed.
Okay.
So, from that to being on the ice. So like everything that I've done.
That's a whole new meaning to Barbell King.
Yeah.
Barbell Doctor. Barbell Doctor.
Take the king, I might change.
He said. He said.
Right?
He pulls out his phone out.
Yeah. So it's
He said.
I only ask that only because I feel like so many people who want to work out or who want to start their New Year's resolution are always like, oh well, this happened and XYZ, and they lack the consistency.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets very frustrating to just tell them like at some point you have to just put your head down and just do it.
absolutely.
And stay consistent. You're gonna have mess ups, you're gonna have screw ups, you're gonna have XYZ happen in life, right? This is life that we're living. But
Yeah.
I think so many people are just so quick to bitch about that.
So like Robbie said last
Frustrating.
episode, remember he said his dad said, just do it even if it's wrong.
Exactly.
That's what
I
Robbie
think
said.
So many people are afraid to just do it to mess up.
Yep.
That's where you get the best out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very frustrating.
So you either win, you never lose. You're either gonna win
Or learn.
lessons.
Yep.
That's it.
Facts.
So one of the two. And your most so I was talking to a client the other day about this, and she went to go see her nephew compete. I think he does. He's like on the cheer squad with one of the high schools, and they didn't come out on top. And I said, you'll always learn more from not placing first
Absolutely.
as opposed to placing first.
It's in those moments of failure where you quote unquote failure is when you actually, like you said, when you take those moments to realize and reflect. Okay, this is the lesson.
Oh,
What was I supposed to learn out of this?
Absolutely.
Instead of worrying about that.
Can be kryptonite later on.
yeah,
Absolutely.
You don't know adversity.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna do until you really fall down. Right?
true.
Get hit.
Yeah, it's all about perspective and the questions that you ask yourself. So if you ask yourself, why did this happen to me? You're gonna get all the wrong answers. Like
Exactly.
why couldn't I play
Right.
pro for another year? Well,
Right.
because I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't have, like, you see how you start to
Athleticism.
go down
Mhm.
that
Absolutely.
rabbit hole as opposed to what does this mean
Yeah.
and how can this? And those are empowering questions.
Yeah.
Disempowering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, you're going to get all the right answers. Like, well, how can I? This is great. Well, now I can empower myself by going back to school.
Yep.
Sure.
Like, it's great that I'm playing with 30-year-old men that, their reason for being was to work in steel mills and breweries in
Yeah.
Canada. Like, that's great. But, I have an alternative to that, an opportunity to go back to school.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm going to do. And that's why this happened, not because, I have all those other deficits
Sure.
on my side.
So Robert, when we talk about like, hey, everything was happening for a reason, right? Did you always have the mentality of, this is either a win or a lesson, or did you have to develop that?
No, so that came over time, and that came over lots of therapy, and like it's so as an athlete, as that type A personality,
Mhm.
it's just driven into me to win, win, win at all costs. I mean, and then when you fall short of that, how do you feel? Oh man.
So I think that's what sets a lot of people up for failure as well. Is
Yeah.
it's okay to be dedicated and go after a goal, but understand that there's detours. There's side streets.
Absolutely.
Sometimes there's a sidewalk
Yeah.
that you need to take. Just because you need to take a pit stop doesn't mean that's the end all be all and you're a failure right now.
Correct.
Because life is very just unorthodox. It would be very foolish to just set your plan and think this is exactly how it's going to go. You may break your leg that day and it may completely deter you onto a whole different path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
But things have evolved. Things have evolved over the years. Like we just think a little bit differently now. When I was growing up, it was, like, shut up, don't cry, handle your business, and that's it. Man up.
Man
But
up.
now it's it's a little bit different now, and even sports psychology. I mean, what the guys have access to now is, it's massive. Like mindset is everything.
Sometimes you gotta learn to play your role, like in sports, team sports especially. Maybe you ain't Michael Jordan, you could be Robert Horry. You could be the guy that makes the big shots.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Know your spot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and that's
that's
when
successful.
when I was playing, I was support. I was a dog. I was a grunt. Like,
Yeah.
I meant to hit, fight, like,
Yeah.
play my role. Like I was never going to score 50 goals.
Right.
Like that's just not. It's not me. I didn't have that talent. But you need to have an understanding of that. So you have to define what is successful, because if you don't define it, so like what's success? Well, I want to win a bodybuilding show. All right, so you won some shitty show, like
Yeah.
what? Now you're gonna be Mr. Olympia. Like, no, like, okay, maybe the goal is
Yeah.
to compete, to get down to that level of conditioning, and that is a huge success.
Sure.
And you realize, like, okay, this is what it is, and now we're gonna move on from that. But
Yeah.
those goals have to be defined. If not, you're just going to be chasing your tail.
You're spinning wheels.
Absolutely, you're always going to
have
be
the goal, yeah.
always going to be let down.
Yeah. So, like, you're a very accomplished man. So you went to school, you got your MD, right?
DC.
Your DC, my apologies. So you got your DC. So with obtaining all that and doing what you do now, balance is weird, right? So you probably didn't have much balance,
But I still don't have much balance.
right?
Yeah, I don't. So I literally was talking to Frank about this the other day. I rolled in and he's like, "Weren't you on a flight last night?" I'm like, "Yeah, 1:30." Like, he's
Oh
like,
wow, respect for even getting here.
"Yeah." He's like, "How many hours do you sleep a night?" I said, "I don't know, maybe 4, 5 if I'm lucky."
Sure.
Like, "How about you?" Same. He follows the same schedule.
Same thing, man.
Yeah, same.
Like, so there's any balance, but I think there's a fine line. So I know when to turn it off, and when I have
Mhm.
those moments when I'm with my daughter or my wife, like this phone goes away. Like, you need to have
Yeah.
complete presentness and focus.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to be that guy like that wasn't there. I'm not there a lot of the time. So like,
Correct.
You are.
but
You
when
want to
you
be
are, you wanna
present.
be there 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's the same thing with physicians. So like, as a physician, you can spend 30 minutes inside of an office doing a consult with somebody. And if you're that guy where you just don't hear it and you're going to dictate, and they don't perceive that as any type of
Mhm.
appreciable time that you spent, but you can spend 3 minutes with them and really connect
Absolutely.
and have an understanding and have empathy and tell them, all right, this is the problem, this is the solution, this is how we're going to move forward.
Mhm.
You've spent an hour with that patient.
Absolutely.
So
We spoke about empathy too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. So yeah, I'm still, Joe, still trying to find balance, but I think truly like those people that are super, super, super successful at what they do, I don't know if it's ever
No,
really
I was
balanced.
gonna say.
I agree with you.
I don't
Yeah.
think balance is a thing, and I think we've been taught that,
Yep.
especially in Western tradition, to chase the white picket fence and you
Yeah.
know the nice, safe neighborhood. And although that is obtainable, even then, when you get there, you're still gonna have challenges in that realm.
Yeah.
So I think chasing a balance is definitely setting you up for failure. Yeah, yeah,
How
absolutely.
do you separate I love who I am, I love what I do, from what I love my family and I'm doing it for them? How do I say which love is more important at this moment, this time? Because you might be with your family, do the right thing, you know right from wrong, but after an hour or two.
I need to get back on that phone.
Watching me yesterday.
Were you on my flight?
Yeah, so it is a challenge, and I think there needs to be, look, to make any relationship work, and whether that's with with your children, with your spouse, your significant other, there has to be a level of compromise there. So we're not the same individual. I'm extremely type A and rigid, and if we're going to dinner at 5:30, like, I'm ready at 5 after 5. Like, yeah, right. So
Yeah, same,
yeah,
same.
There, y'all are related.
yeah, but she's not. But I have to.
I get
You have
this.
you have to appreciate the differences.
Absolutely.
You balance each other up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You need
the
that.
yin and yang, and
Yeah.
so yeah. One of the things that I appreciated most about her was how do you? Like, no, we'll just figure it out. You jump and the net will appear. I'm like that. I'm not jumping at all.
It's a cliff.
Yeah, like,
Know me.
but so I had that appreciation. And sometimes it can be, it can be a double-edged sword to where you just get frustrated with. But yeah, so it's a constant struggle between wanting to produce and having to pull those reins back and be truly present. But so thus the sleeping for 4 hours or getting here. So I try to get my things done at a certain time so I have the rest of the day
Awesome.
Yeah,
them.
we're very similar in that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Extremely similar.
Yeah, because if I don't get it done, and,
Yeah.
and it's funny that you said this, that like I don't consider myself a bodybuilder anymore. Like, I do it because I love the challenge. I want to stress and test my body and it puts me in a good mental space.
I
If
say
I'm not here
Yep.
and I don't do those things, man, I'm a monster.
I say that all the time.
We talked
I'm,
about it.
I'm
We
a
talked about
totally different person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of it.
No.
I'm
Well, we talked about it
You
last. We
leave
talked
here.
about it
You
last
leave.
episode.
Like you're not with your family.
Yeah.
You're not at work. You're not doing nothing. You in your little battle, your little moment
Yeah.
in time, and that helps you rejuvenate and seem like you can get back to these other things.
It
Yeah.
does.
And we
You
talked
know?
about it last episode. A lot of men suffer in silence with a lot of shit
Yep.
internally. So the gym is a one place where you can really kind of, like you said, let your demons out earlier. You
Oh,
can really
yeah.
like unleash a lot of mental clarity. A lot of times things that you've been pondering on for years,
Mhm.
you just get a good session in, and
Yep.
the answer will finally come to you.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I've been waiting on this answer for 7 years. In the middle of a bench press, and I finally get it.
And
You
you
know,
may don't get it, but you might have released a little stress and
or
you know,
that the bare
been
minimum of
clearer
that. The bare
to
minimum of
get
that.
to
Yeah,
it.
that's why we speak. It's very important for men to just stay active, be active, put your body at work. But touching on that too, real quick about understanding your partner. I was doing research on love languages, and I realized that my fiance, one of her biggest love languages is quality time.
Yeah.
My version of quality time is we could be in the room, like put on the TV or watch The Sopranos, while she's playing on her phone or while I'm reading. That's fine. We don't have to talk.
Yep.
Her version of quality time, also being a woman, she needs eye contact. She needs yes, babe. She needs validation. She needs me to actually listen.
Yeah.
So when I'm on my phone or when I'm preparing for something, I have to realize, okay, let me put this down because her version of quality time is different from mine.
I think quality time, which
yeah.
is wrong. I'm just in the room with you.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I be thinking.
We
But
don't
I
need to
know
talk,
that
babe. We don't need to talk.
we have-
Just sit there.
we have-
Get
but
energy
that
alone, I love.
I mean,
that ain't what women like to
Mhm.
connect and
Mhm.
all that. I used to lose that part.
Mhm.
I
So
did lose that.
as men, never say anything that doesn't improve upon silence, right? Like we're good with that.
Mhm.
But they're a different, it's a different species, man. So, you know, like we honor above all else, and this is just my opinion, respect.
Yep.
Comes first.
With women, it's all about security.
Nurturing,
It's yep, it's and how you can cultivate that nurturing relationship. So for them, it's that one-on-one time, it's touch, it's eye contact, it's talking through things, not to solve the problem.
Mhm.
Like I want to talk about
Just
it.
to hear. We just want you to hear.
I don't have time to talk. I'll give you, how about if I give you the solution?
I literally said this last episode.
No.
Bro, you can give them the
Uh-uh.
absolute 100% solution, and they're still upset with you because
Right.
the premise is you just listening.
I
They
learned
want
from
to
that.
feel-
though.
They want to feel
I
heard.
learned from that. Like if
Yeah.
I see you venting and too many times we bump heads, I'm gonna let you vent.
Mhm.
And I know the answer. Instead of me intervening, I'm gonna start agreeing with you.
Right. And guide her slowly.
You're
Okay.
smart, girl. Eventually, you're gonna see you did this and this, and
Yeah.
we'll come back full circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of us bumping heads in the house.
Yeah.
Right on the money.
Yeah. So I'm not the brightest bulb. So it's taken me years to understand that, and still to this day, I still struggle.
Yeah.
Like, let's bring it back to quality time. You guys were talking about me and my significant other. Like, we struggle with quality time, even though we're home a lot. I'm always on my phone. I think it's an addiction. It sucks, and I know it, and I still fall into the trap.
Yeah.
So you say you're able to just put your phone down and focus with your family. So what would your advice be to me? Besides the simple, just put the phone down. Like, I've really struggled with it. I don't.
You have scheduled, and back to my rigidity, you have scheduled phone downtime, period, done. And so and the three things about that, you need to, one, make it easy. So it's like the same thing I tell my clients about food prep. Like, okay, I got to remember to prep my meals. Like, put your Tupperware then
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
You can't miss it.
Mhm.
So you have to make it obvious. You have to make it easy,
Yeah.
right? So, obvious. This is the time. So from 7 to 9, when I'm with her, like that's the time. The parameters are set. Done. Make it easy. Take your phone, go and put it in the drawer somewhere.
Sure.
You can't have it.
Yeah, put it in your
You can't
phone.
have it.
hard.
Yeah.
And then you need to celebrate that win. Like as stupid. And look, I'm not a celebrator. Because anything that I accomplish, anything that I do, I was supposed to do it.
Fact.
That's just drilled into my head.
Wow.
You were supposed to do this. I don't get to celebrate. I don't give myself that. But you have to celebrate that. You have to recognize it. Like, all right, I did this. How'd this feel? Like, what was that? What was that level of connection like?
Right.
And then it's more repeatable after that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
becomes a pattern.
Yeah, because I used to struggle with that too, constantly being on my phone, especially with social media as that started getting bigger.
Yeah.
I
I
still
put my
do.
phone in my room. I literally put it in the living room and we just have downtime.
Absolutely.
And
can't.
we usually start.
You know what I do? I take the role. I'm gonna go cook dinner for us. So if I'm cooking, I can't be on the phone.
It's good.
I'm still on my phone.
Oh, I don't do that. I try to
Man,
do something.
but if it's in my pocket and I have phone downtime and
Yeah.
that thing vibrates, I'm like, this could be something important. Like
Sure,
this could be somebody trying to get in touch with me. I'm like, now I just broke my own rule. So
Sure.
it goes away. Like
Absolutely.
other rule, you're
And I
done.
think it's very hard too when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like when you're your own boss,
Of course.
when that phone rings, it's like, oh man, I
Yes.
really got to take this. And I'm realizing that now, being in this field, I'm always gonna have my phone on me.
Yeah.
My girl's like, can you just put the phone down for a little bit? And I'm like, but the guys, it may be important, but I'm learning.
Yep.
You just gotta detach. It's only 12 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 15.
Yep.
Put it down.
Yeah.
And like I was getting ready to say, so every evening we've been starting this thing where we have time where we put our phones away, and we start off with 3 questions. How are you feeling after the whole day? How do you feel emotionally? How do you feel physically? And how do you feel mentally?
That's your
And that's
celebration.
literally how we kind of just start digging in, and we can just go in on conversation just from there.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing. It really works.
I feel like it's a fine line if you're an entrepreneur, right? Because like you own practices, you have to answer people because they're reliant on you, but so is your family.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you understand where I'm driving with
I
this?
do.
Like it's like, okay, I need to answer them, but would 30 minutes really be catastrophical?
So here's the thing, and you're in sales and you do it at such a high level, right? But and I go back to thinking about this, and I've had people tell me this that are much more successful than what I'll ever be. And that if you don't get back to that person, you're really gonna lose that. Like that person has had the same experience. Like they're gonna understand. I get it if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and like, where's this guy? Like
Yeah, if you get back at 9, 10, we know that's
but yeah, if it's later in the like it doesn't like there isn't anything more important. I said this to my daughter the other day, and she's like, Daddy, can you help me with this? And I was on my phone. I said, of course, there's nothing more important than you.
Mhm.
Like, that's it. And really, there isn't. So
Yeah.
that's like downtime. I should have been present. And, like, she caught me on it. But-
Excellent.
But you acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the longest you say you can put the phone down? That you say, kind of like roundabout. You looked at the clock like, yo, I ain't touched it.
2 minutes.
No, like yesterday. So yesterday was a good day. So my phone, and I'm chronically in the red, right? So that's how much I'm on that damn device. Chronically in the red. So yesterday was sledding day. Like trained legs. I'm walking around like a cripple. My daughter says, Daddy, like we're gonna go sledding today, right? I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go sledding. Like so I squeeze into this snowsuit, like so we go. I left my phone at home, so that was a good 2.5 hours. And then I'm wishing that I had it because I'm like, oh, I wish I would have gotten some videos of this or done that. But I think it was more important not to have it, to have that
The
But you wouldn't just get videos from
Being-
it. You would have went and saw something else.
Just-
presentness.
you were more in the moment with your daughter.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I understand. I think that's what I think we all need like validation. I don't want to speak for you guys, but everybody they feel like they needs to be recorded. Right? For like when I go to concerts, I never go on my phone. My girl's always on her phone, recording videos, and I'm just like, damn, I just want to be present. But I think that's lacking. So what you just said with your daughter, like, hey, you're like, oh, I wish I had it, but I really don't think you feel that. Because you were 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
just strict time with your daughter. There's going to be nothing in the world that's more valuable than that.
The vast majority of the time I forgot that I didn't have it.
Yeah.
But then
But she
like in
was-
that one moment, that one moment where I'm standing at the top of the hill and she's riding down with her friends, I'm like, oh, this would have been a good time.
Mhm.
Right back to it. So I think it just takes time, like anything else, to build up that muscle to where you say, okay, this is
what I do.
this is the separate time. Like this is family time. This is sacred. Like
Mhm.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff because, like I said, I struggle with my phone, and you're opening my eyes to different methods of how to start weaning off of it.
Yeah.
Because it's a sickness.
it is.
I have no problem saying it.
Speaking of though,
Dopamine.
It is.
What I want to do to restore my dopamine, is a YouTube channel called Yes Theory. Shout out guys. But they do challenges, and the whole point is to say yes to everything. And one of the challenges were to spend a certain amount of time. It was a significant amount of time. I want to say like 4 or 5 days in darkness. They're in this little cabin. It's darkness, and that's the way they live for 3 to 4 days. And I know it sounds crazy.
Aaron Rodgers.
You're completely isolated, yeah. And when you come out, you have a totally different perspective and appreciation
Yeah.
with the finer details of life, the trees blow in the wind. And I'm looking at all these people who have done it, and they're just sitting there like, wow, I didn't realize I took my eyesight and colors for granted. You take things for granted all
I probably have a sore throat.
So I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
That's what like water fasting, right? There's a lot of studies behind that.
Yeah, anytime you fast,
I would probably die, but yeah, water fasting. No, it's just water.
Yeah, just water.
From
food.
yes, for
I
like
can't be around the loved ones of nobody though, right?
no, because he's gonna act out.
No, it's honest truth. There's no such thing as happy, hungry people. I'm hungry. There's no need because certain people ask different things. I'm probably not in my best state. I'm hungry. I want a platter.
Wait, do you fast? Oh, I'm gonna say
I tell you, I do, but in
Dude.
my work, I may do 10, 12 hours. I don't eat at work.
Okay.
So because of my hours, if I eat makes me tired sometimes.
Right, makes you
So I
tired.
eat
And you driving. You said,
yeah,
you
so
driving,
I kind of don't eat. It might be 10, 12 hours every night. I don't mean to do
Dude.
it.
Right.
My body's
Okay.
used to it.
Well, if you set
So-
the intention, if you said happy, hungry, what was the
There's no
phrase?
such thing as happy, hungry people.
I agree to an extent. I think if you set the intentions, when you start to fast, you will hit a level of euphoria
What?
that is out of this world. I fasted for I fasted for 3 days unintentionally, and then it
Yeah.
became intentional. It
Yeah,
was a euphoric feeling that to this day I'm like, I want to get back to that.
Yeah, and there's
So
a
I
point,
do agree.
There's a point if you ride that out where you're no longer hungry.
Absolutely.
yeah, because it's
that desire.
I'm talking about
It's
that
like
one
habitual.
that be right here.
Of course.
so.
I'm talking about
When you
that.
when you start to get hungry, like sometimes you got to ask yourself, why am I hungry? Do I really need to eat?
It's not just gluttony.
Because it becomes like a habit. Your body is so trained to be like, okay, I have to eat it this time.
I like to chill. I don't
Right,
like to be
but
hungry sometimes.
You
I
like
to chill.
to and need to are two different things.
Hungry, I like to chill.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So it's actually, if you break it down, you can probably classify it as some type of addiction. Because if you
I like to chill. I don't be hungry sometimes.
If-
I just get a
But
snack.
but I'm not trying to be funny, bro. That's a clear indication that you probably want to start practice fasting. It doesn't have to be long, but if you're doing
I
that,
can't. The
if you're-
refrigerator I keep full. I
well,
keep
listen.
the
If you
cat-
subconsciously feel like you
I do
need
buy
to
food.
just to chew without actually wanting
I'm-
to eat, that's a clear indication you might want to look up. Just fast.
I'm not-
Just saying,
yeah,
just
I'm
saying.
not trying to starve you, man. I'm just saying, like when you
That's I think it's
when you constantly give in to your body and it's like, okay, I'm hungry, I got to eat,
Yeah, bro.
right? It becomes like an addiction
Yeah.
because it's habitual. You're like, okay, I eat now. I'm hungry. I have to eat. You don't always have to eat
Facts.
when you're hungry.
And our
I
ancestors
don't seem to be
studied that.
happy, man. When I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, I'm kind of not happy.
I mean, I get it.
I'm not happy. I'm just like,
He's like, I punched my neighbor in the mouth last week.
It's hangry. You're like the Snickers bar.
And
Like, you know,
your body's used to eating certain types of food, especially if you're eating an American diet. There's barely anything nutrition that you're eating. Not trying to be funny. That's just living in America. So when you do naturally fast from processed foods, particularly, yes, you're going to go through the migraines. You're going to go through the frequent nausea. You're going to go through the dizziness, whatever it is. You're detoxing.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So there's a significant. There's something on a spiritual level. Not even trying to take it there, but there is something very powerful when you fast. When you starve your physical flesh, not even just food, TV, phone, screen, just having mindful moments and having setting intention. There's something very powerful spiritually doing it. The soul, you're feeding more of the soul.
You know what?
That's
Okay,
very powerful.
how I rationalize, I try to be logical and think. This is the honest truth. I don't smoke, I don't drink at all. Like I'm to do New Year's Eve, I'm probably not gonna do. You might have to beg me to drink.
Right, you drinking on ginger ale.
Yeah, ginger ale. I'm gonna do water, but we all out. I can have a good time.
Is it Canada Dry ginger ale?
Instead of that cigarette, it might be me popping a Ritz Bits cookie or something. That's my. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, instead of drinking and everyone, I might eat pretzels because that's at the bar.
I mean-
might be one eating pretzels in a Deer Park water.
Sure.
So that's my
Deer
way. Yeah, that's my little way of thinking.
Spring water, not purified.
You know, where another person, hey, they might smoke or they got a little drink.
Everybody has their own vices. I get that, man.
You
So,
know?
so do you meditate?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have ADHD, so for me, it's very important to have my
Every day.
Yeah.
So every day. So I mean, I have my process that I go through every single day.
Same.
It's like probably a 20-minute process.
Same.
But wake up. Meditation has been one of those things for me. So when we're talking about this stuff, like giving into vices and like, man, I just want this to calm or dopamine hit or something like that, that meditation has been one of my things to just kind of keep me present, and it allows me to, so much comes at you over the course of a day, right? So you have these needs from the family, you have this tax audit that's coming in here, you got a podcast to do, you got this order that needs to be put. like you just get overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Meditation has been my solution to all that, where it helps me eliminate all that chatter.
Absolutely.
I can just go, whoop,
And
done.
everyone,
I can put this down for 2 hours and go, whoop,
everyone I know that meditates is the same. I
not,
see a
yeah,
different
man, it's not a
calmness
spirit,
to 'em.
it's not like for me, and I won't speak for anybody else, it's not a spiritual thing, it's not a godly thing, whether you
Mm-mm.
believe in God or not, it's your time to shut up and listen to God, not ask God for any questions.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that in those moments when you do that over time, you're able to condition yourself to be like, all right, well, like, yeah, I might be a little bit hungry, but I'm good without that Ritz. Listen, Ritz, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, when you have that, then you end up realizing I'm really not that hungry.
So
You're just so used to getting what you want.
Yeah.
Because not trying to be funny, if you was out in Africa or a very impoverished area, whether you wanted a Ritz bit or not, you ain't getting it.
But I'm not in Africa. I'm in the crib
But
with.
but it's still but it's good to still practice though.
I'm in Philadelphia.
You missed the concept. It's
No,
still
I know
good
what you mean.
to practice though.
Yeah.
What just in case? Because like, what if you just happen? Okay, you live in America and you could afford it, but for whatever reason you just really can't. You're snowed in. You will have to do it out anyway.
That's why I'm.
When people snow, they get their little hot toddies. They
Oh my
drink.
God.
They do. This is what people do. A lot of people do. They get their little drink or whatever. And hey, that's their little down, whatever, vice,
Listen,
whatever.
we all got vices. We all got. I think they'll be
You
you.
know?
I'm just saying this practice.
Yeah.
It's good to practice sometimes. Do whatever you desire the most. That's a dangerous position, especially for a man to be in. If you feed that desire all the time, that ain't
Like,
good.
that's
Whether it's
another
water,
thing.
too much water, good. Too much water kills
I'm
you.
eating a good snack.
If you're not urinating.
Really good. I got this thing I get in a deep thought. I
What?
start thinking. You never think.
What's it?
No, you
What is deep thought?
you're drinking a good juice or something that tastes really good and they make you like zone out somewhere.
What the hell are you drinking, dude?
You're drinking some good tasting juice or soda. I mean, not soda, but like whatever.
You said ginger ale earlier.
Ginger ale. Oh, yeah, that's when the stomach is bubbling. It's a reason for that.
I feel like we all
All right, so when you say you meditate, so like I don't meditate, you meditate.
You don't?
No. So
I
what
need
is your meditation process?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I didn't want to mess you. Man, I want to
So-
know.
I wake up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and I have some meditation pillows that I'll sit on.
Mhm.
And it really just helps me kind of get into a comfortable position.
Okay.
I don't, because it is so damn early and I might have gotten 4 hours sleep. I don't use any back support. If I have back support, I'm out.
keeps you up. There
Yeah,
you go.
I
Smart.
fall asleep. So I got no back support.
Mm.
I sit and, I go through my process to where I'm just trying anything that comes into my head. I thank it, try to push it out. Like I literally envision a hand in my head and red Corvette. Like I'm not a Corvette guy. Red
Right.
Corvette just came into my head. I'm like, thank you for that, whatever reason, and I go like push it out. And you condition yourself over time just to be able to sit and you think of it is blankness. And man, the stuff that'll come into your head, and you still thank the universe for bringing it there, is it's some crazy stuff. Like I mean, I've been, and I didn't learn how to do this until later on. I wish I would have learned it earlier. I think everybody should learn how to do this. It was like 80 doctors. We were in the hills of North Texas. They took away our watches. They fed us, vegan food for 3 days. Like it was intense. We ran a 10K every day. And these are guys like cardiologists that were 50 pounds overweight, but everybody stayed in a group. And there's power in a group. Like it was some amazing shit that we did. But they taught us how to meditate. And after that, everybody would go to this pavilion and share. Like, and some of the things that people would share is just nuts. It's just next level. Like I could try to share you some stories, but it gets me emotional just talking about it. Like, but it was some crazy stuff. Like, and these are all well accomplished guys.
Great techniques.
Yeah, but I taught, I was taught how to do that, and man, it has been amazing ever since. Like my day's off if I don't do it.
Wow.
It's truly off if I don't do it, and then I'll journal.
And it's the easiest thing you could do. It's so simple.
Dude,
You don't
it's
need
simple.
anything around you.
You don't
You don't need
So-
anything around you.
do it
but
in your
yourself.
you can do it in your
So I
car.
just have everything quiet and just
Yeah.
close my eyes.
Everyone has techniques because again, I have ADHD. So the average person, things pop into their head. For me, I'm always constantly on the go. So this is very important for me.
Yep.
But what I was taught was to envision a circle, right? And anything as the thoughts try to come in, like you said, something random, like whatever, push it outside the circle to
Yep.
where you can't see it, and just visualize the circle. and that's how I practice. And then from
Now
there,
is this circle black? Like everything around you is black? Like I'm associating black.
You don't have to
darkness,
take it there, man.
yeah, however you envision it, doesn't matter. Yeah,
No,
however
I'm trying
you
to.
envision it.
You stop, man. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
just in a
I'm trying
circle,
to, like,
just a line,
Yes.
just an outline of the
Yeah.
circle. It could be a white background like a paper,
Yep.
and any random thoughts that come, which they will, because our brain is always trying to keep us on go, which is why you are fighting it. It's very, it seems very easy, but it's very difficult.
No, it's
Now,
to
if you was
do it.
upset about something, can you go meditate?
Yes, it's your best time to meditate
Yes, man.
because
You're worried.
and this is
When
this
you're
is
worried, oh my
yeah,
god,
this
it's
is
best.
why. So you take yourself down those holes. Like you start asking yourself bad questions. I don't know if you were here when we talked about this, but like you start asking yourself disempowering questions.
Am I worth it? Can I do
Correct.
it?
And as soon as you ask yourself those questions, you're done because your brain is going to put the answers in that just further takes you down the hole. Like,
Mhm.
man, why can't I squat 315? Well, you can't squat 315 because you're weak as hell. You can't squat 315 because your hips are for shit.
Little
Like,
bitch.
right? Like those are the bad answers.
Mhm.
But when you ask yourself empowering things like, how can I squat 315? Like there's it's entirely different. Like at that point, you just got a solution. Like, well, fuck it. Maybe I'll start training legs 2 times a week now. Maybe I'll start incorporating box squat. Like it's all the solutions.
Mhm.
But when you start to meditate, when you change that mindset, you will literally, all that garbage that comes to you throughout the course of the day, you're going to be able to filter out the shit that you don't need.
Mhm.
And the stuff that you do need, you are certainly much more clear in how to address it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Much more clear. Like
Mhm.
it just gives you clarity to answer
Yeah.
questions that are so front and center, just at a higher level.
Mhm.
Function at a higher level with that.
I feel like I would really struggle with being able to do that.
It's tough to do at first. It's
Like just listening to you, I would struggle.
And there-
I can't sit
Does
still.
meditation help with sleep?
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I know that can be a problem. I tend to think of things like, oh, and it's
Yeah.
up.
Absolutely.
But Joe, that's how you start. Like, and I'll still to this day, like there are some days where I get into that zone where I just have blankness within 30 seconds. Like you just fall into the groove. And there are other days that I just struggle. I fight it the whole way. And then that mindset after I come out, I'm like, man, that sucked. Like that was, I got to do that again in the afternoon. Like
Mhm.
I'm just, it was not a good session. So I still struggle with that. But
Okay.
there now the vast majority of the time I'm able to get into it pretty damn quickly. And yeah, but it takes a while to develop.
And another thing that I think that I started implementing in my life is so when people think of meditation, they think staying still monk style.
Mm.
But there's other ways. As long as you're mindful, you're meditating, right? So you could be reading something. The scriptures are. I'm a biblical person. The scripture says, "Pray and meditate on my word." So you can be reading and meditate. So anytime you're slowing the brain down, you're in a meditating state. So what I'll do is before bed, I'll turn out the lights where I'm in the dark, so I have nothing distracting me, and I'll stretch while I'm meditating. So I'll play frequency. I'll play words of affirmation, and while I'm in the dark, I'm just stretching and I'm giving thanks to my forearm, my fingers at work. You're just praising and giving thanks to what you've been given, and you're using that time, that mindfulness, and it's just a lot easier. So if you can't keep still physically, do some stretches while you're meditating, and for me that works amazingly as well. Especially right,
Yeah, I do
especially
something
right before bed,
goofy
you
and
get the
fall
best sleep right
asleep.
before bed.
True. Yeah.
Meditate and fall asleep.
Maybe I'm just weak-minded. I really feel like
I can't. I
as
need
much as I would try,
It's a
I
process.
understand.
Challenges.
Yeah.
We
It's a
got on
process.
section.
Yeah,
Challenges.
that.
It started.
Made.
You start at 3 minutes.
Challenges
Like,
are made.
You start at 3 minutes, and
Yeah.
you move up from there.
I'll make an
Something 15
effort
minutes.
to start today.
Mhm.
Next week, I will tell you how long I was able to do it.
Does everything have to be quiet around you? Because that can be tough.
No, because for me, like I said, sometimes if I really, most of the time I try to do quiet because again, most people run from silence. Most men, most people
That's
are
me.
very silence
right?
is eerie to them. It's very
I
uncomfortable.
love silence.
But so I try to aim for silence. But for
If
me,
I
I'll
can
do
get
words
it,
of affirmation. I'll listen
I
to
don't
Bible
get it,
scriptures
bro. I
or
don't get it.
stuff like that.
When things are silent, my anxiety increases.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Dude, this will
That's
help
common,
you
though.
Yes.
immensely.
That's common.
Like I can't. Like I need the television on at night.
Are
I
you
can't sleep.
what?
Yup,
Like
I
you see
can't.
TV on?
Oh, I can't even do
That
The
it.
is
television
I'm trying
needs to be on.
Sleep.
That's
If
unhealthy.
everything's dark, I don't know what's coming after me. Like I'm that
you
guy.
Get a nightlight.
My anxiety increases.
Get a little
No, I
nightlight.
need
Did
background
you know,
noise.
did you know that when you sleep with the TV on?
So your phone makes noises when you sleep, like psh. You know how people
No,
got
the
little noises.
television does.
Yeah, I heard
No,
that.
with the NBA.
No,
late
but
at
No, you
night.
need to stop.
Statistically, I heard when you sleep with the TV on, although you are one part of your brain is sleep, I don't know which one is, but with the light reflecting through your eyelids, you're not getting the proper sleep that you would be getting.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, our ancestors, whether you think Neanderthals or whatever, previously when the sun went down, it was nighttime and it was dark. So
Cool,
we are
dark
naturally
cave.
supposed to sleep like that.
That's where you sleep.
Yeah.
Cool, dark.
So pay attention to the history.
So,
Did you used to like when you sleep with the TV on? Is it sports on?
dude,
I would think sports. Like,
it's
'cause yo,
either-
I can't
it's
wake
either-
up to Jason killing somebody. Oh,
it's either sports or The Office.
okay, that's fine. Then those are pleasant kind of things to you.
Bro.
I mean,
Right?
I don't know. I mean, Michael does some questionable stuff on The Office. So,
Oh, right, man.
but
It's
over,
a funny show.
no, but it's not like I'm facing. Like I don't even have to be facing the TV.
Got you.
Like it's just I need
You like the
something
blue
in
side,
back.
right?
That it's comfort that it's on.
I fall asleep listening to something.
Bro, when I was a kid, I stayed the night over at this one friend's house, and he slept the TV on, and his dad slept in the living room with the TV on, and his
Yeah.
mom slept in her bedroom with the TV on.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
like, nah, bro. I was like,
I-
I gotta go home. It was like 3 in the morning. I'm
So-
walking home like, nah, I need my darkness.
I did hear the
Yeah,
story.
so
That-
so my
that-
girlfriend used to have everything off
Yeah.
prior to meeting me because she met me
Roll
and we've known each other.
Rolling her sleep.
Now she needs the television on.
Mm.
Messed her up.
She was like, I don't know what you did to me.
They know we
but
love
now
you.
she
Get your
needs
sleep,
the
girl.
television on.
Get your sleep.
I just can't. I can't. My anxiety increases for whatever reason, man.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just weak minded. I don't know.
No.
Now I'm not gonna lie. The one time it was dark, I'll share this story. You heard of Float?
Yeah.
So there's a place in my job. It's called Float where you could sit in this Epsom salt bath. It's
Yep.
very cool. So the lady was like, "Listen, you can turn off the projector and you can turn off the lights."
Sensory deprivation.
And man, bro, when I tell you, now I'm sitting in a tub that's like no more than like 6 inches. I'm floating in this Epsom salt. I turn off the light and the projector immediately. I'm thinking like the Kraken, the Megalodon, everything's scary because I'm sitting in water. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm out in like
Oh.
water. Psychologically, bro, that messed me up. Now I tried as long as I could, but I was panicking. I was
Yeah.
hyperventilating. It was scary.
Mm.
But I turned the
Would it
lights
be
off.
possible for you to sleep with the TV on and you put the sleep timer for like 3 hours?
No.
And then you fell asleep.
No.
That's not good.
Yeah.
So when it
I
go
need the TV on.
so
man.
when it go off in 3 hours, even though you was already asleep, you're gonna wake up.
So that
if I hold on, if I wake up and that fucking television's off, it's going back on.
now that shows he's not asleep then. Because
So
the
you
fact
won't be
that
able to
he
go
woke
back
up-
to sleep.
I have to.
He
I
didn't
drink
go
2
sleep.
gallons of water a day. I urinate.
Oh, so
He
you
didn't go to sleep.
What?
The fact that he had to wake up to turn the TV back on.
Yeah.
You ain't sleep.
I fall asleep at 9. If I wake up at 3, that's 6 hours, and then I go back to sleep and sleep for another couple.
Because he gets up to go
What are
to
you
the
talking
bathroom.
about?
He's going to get up and go to the
Your
bathroom.
brain ain't
right?
Your brain ain't fucking.
You got to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Listen,
No.
I'll put it like this: Who's here first, me or you in the morning?
There it is. Whoop, there it is.
What's that mean?
No.
I live the furthest.
Okay.
So what that mean? I'm up early.
If I lived further than you, I would still get here before you.
I'm
Whoop,
up
there it
earlier
is.
than you. What time do you get up?
What time? No. Oh, fine. I'll answer. I get up at what time we get here today? 6.
Yeah, all the time.
I was up at 5.
You're not.
I was up at-
We're not going to have a couple argument on our podcast. We're not going to do that. I'm up before you. I live the furthest. I don't want to hear all that. Anyway, so how do you sleep? Do you sleep in the dark?
Yeah.
5:10,
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Wow.
Got you.
and I was up at 5. Actually, 4:55 today.
On the parade.
Yeah.
Well, that's late for you because during the week you're earlier, right?
No, I guess no. My point is, in all seriousness, I get a lot of sleep, and
That's good,
I
that's
don't
good.
wake up tired. That's how I know my quality of sleep.
By 9, that's excellent. Then that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because I'm up at 3:50 every day.
So
Call me out, bitch.
now your occupation. Could you just explain to the people like what you do? How did you lean into that? How did you find your craft in that?
Yeah. So I have a doctoral degree in chiropractic. So undergraduate degree in health sciences. So I went to Hahnemann before I went to Drexel.
Over in Philly?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
How long have you been? You still there?
Huh?
No, no,
It's
no.
not there no more. right?
No. So
It was
Hahnemann.
recent. because my
Yeah.
mom-
So Hahnemann was gobbled up by Drexel.
Yeah, because I don't want to. I'll just hear me out. My mom, when she was sick, that's where she was going for her liver specialist.
Yeah.
It was an excellent facility when
Fantastic.
we were there. They had a great specialist, so that's
Yeah.
why I was asking. I was just curious.
Yeah, so I don't know when. I got a call one year from Drexel, looking for money from the alumni. And I went to Hahnemann. Like Hahnemann is now, so I can't remember what year that was, but yeah, and they might still call it Hahnemann Hospital. I don't know,
Probably.
but yeah, it's now under the Drexel
Drexel.
umbrella. But that all stemmed from playing ice hockey. So my first pro camp, so I was with the Flyers in 89, 90. Horrible injury to my low back. So
Mm.
like one of those times where you truly have hard bone on soft nerve. Like that's the chiropractic philosophy that most people work under that assumption. And it's just not the case, right? It's just not true. We know that now. Very, very, very few instances where there is hard bone on soft nerve. Most of the time it's just soft tissue
Mhm.
injuries. So but in this condition there was, and we had the best orthopedic surgeons and everybody, man, I couldn't get on the ice. And, you know, we'd established this, like I was a dog, I was a grunt. If I'm not out there grinding, like there's not a place for me anywhere. Like just going to say, see ya. So, you know, I remember that, you know, they took me over to Jefferson, saw some guys, and they're like, oh, you know, you're just gonna have to ride this out. Spoke to my father who's in medicine. He's like, you know what, didn't you go to school with someone who's now a chiropractor? Why don't you go and try that? I'm like, all right. So, you know, at the time, camp was at the Coliseum in Voorhees, I think. I don't know if anybody remembers the Coliseum in Voorhees. But we were staying at the Hyatt on Route 70, and I drove over to Collingswood, saw my friend there, and I went to school with him, played street hockey with him. One adjustment, and I was back on the ice. Like literally, it was the greatest gift that anybody could have ever given me. And I grew up, my whole family's in medicine, my father, my uncles, like I saw that what they did. And although it's unbelievable to be able to help someone like that, there was no joy in it. Like there wasn't, you know, you're on call, things are going off in the middle of the night. And I, as a kid, we talked about presentness. Like I remember that. Like we'd be at the movies. My dad's like, "Shit, I gotta go. Like I gotta get in right now. Like done." So when speaking to my friend about that, and I never had a plan B, after my career ended, I went to go see him.
See
He's like,
how life is though. Life is all you can't.
dude,
You
it
can't
is.
set life on a straight and narrow, bro.
No, it's not. So it's really planned for me. So that's how I got into it. I thought, man, what a great thing if I could do this for somebody else.
Awesome.
So went to chiropractic school. That was another 4 year after I graduated from Hahnemann, another 4 years. So I went to school down in Marietta, Georgia. Loved Atlanta. What a great city. Like
Atlanta.
great city. I used to train at Lee Haney's Animal Kingdom.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that is throwing it back.
way back, way back. I told you that I could tell you about Attilas. Like there's,
Yeah.
so that was a cool experience. And then after that started my first practice, which was just largely chiropractic. And then after chiropractic, you know, you see so many patients and you're really kind of limited with what you can do for them. You know, just because of the demographic, you have a lot of patients that are a little older, a little bit heavier, concomitant joint issues.
More fragile, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So, you know, somebody comes in that they're 60 pounds overweight, diabetic, and like, I'm not adjusting that away. So you can't,
I mean, yeah.
right?
I'm
Can't do a miracle.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah,
The
so I
hands
got
are good,
into,
but not that good.
yeah, so we got into some different programs at that point. I incorporated medicine into it. We got a larger facility. We were doing visco supplementation for knees. So, you know, a lot of people call it the gel shots. So,
Yes.
you know, if a
Oh,
joint
okay.
space is compromised, if it's narrowed and
Yeah.
you're approximating bone to bone, if you lubricate it, you're gonna do much better. And then once you do that, and you get them out of pain, you can change lifestyle.
Yep.
So that's when we can start to address, okay, so you know, this is how we address our diet, this is how we address activities, and you can literally change those people's lives. So we had a great run with that. That was probably
Nice.
10 years to where I am now. So now I'm out of that altogether, and now I'm into specialty. So rheumatology. So I work with rheumatologists and things. So what I'm able to bring them is more business development side of it. Like I don't, you know a whole lot about rheumatology. It wasn't my specialty, but you know, I know business.
You offered, yeah.
And I know how we can increase, you know, revenue streams and lines of service, things that they don't currently offer. So that's right now down in Florida. There are 2 facilities. So we just added a 3rd facility, and we're looking at a 4th. So it's
Nice.
growing rapidly. So it's, again, we talked about this. You can't work on your business while working in it. So it's really allowed me to take a step back, because now I can't, you know, I'm not licensed. I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can just work on it and say, all right, this is what we can implement. And this is what we do. And this is where we acquire a new space here and another provider. And
It's awesome.
so we can grow rapidly. It's
In
great.
your years of practicing and what you've seen, plenty of different patients, different issues, everything. You know, a lot of people, they talk about this part, the lower back. What do people do that you've seen, you know, multiple cases day in and day out that affects their lower back?
So what we're doing right now,
Wow, that was a
Sit in the
largely.
chair.
Can I say
Yep.
something on that?
Please.
So you're probably
Is
gonna
it
yell.
posture?
You're probably gonna yell at me for doing this. I sleep on my stomach.
So I will not yell at you for doing
That's the
that.
same.
Really?
No, I will not.
Good, I can't do that.
No, I will not.
Okay. Thank
So,
God.
no.
Thank God.
No. So largely posture, and so posture is controlled by an area of your brain that is unconscious.
Huh.
Whatever you do repetitively goes into that area of the brain, and that dictates posture. So most people now are sitting at a station with their pelvis rotated forward. So actually the back of the pelvis comes back posterior. So envision ass tucked in, right? No ass. Thoracic cage translates this way. Head translates this way.
Shoulders probably hunched over.
Shoulders. So over time, now your body adopts that. You get
Mhm.
soft tissue changes. Nervous system is then going to run down through that protective bony coating through your spine, tension, pressure on certain areas. So that's where you get that nerve interference. It's not hard bone on soft nerve.
Wow.
So, and then to come in and to adjust someone one time, like, all right, maybe I could get them, if they're truly that 2% that has that condition, okay, great, go be on your way.
Mhm.
But for the majority of the people that have just chronic low back issues,
Yeah.
it's a postural correction that takes time. So you have not only have to address the osseous material, the bone, but then the soft tissue changes as well. So think about taking the elastic in the top of your sweatpants and stretching it once. It goes
Comes
back.
back.
Right.
But
If
if you
you
take
keep
that
doing it-
and you hold it for 12 hours and you let it go, it's called rheology. That's going to come back to a certain extent, but you've made a change.
Mhm.
So you have to do that constantly. And we have established norms for what the spine should look like.
Mhm.
There are measurements and things for that. So you put them back to that position and they function at a higher level.
Okay.
Pain goes away, but you're not concerned with the pain because you could have shit posture
Mhm.
and have no pain, but we're still not performing as well as what you should.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you can't use the symptoms as the barometer of success.
Wow.
Everybody does. They're like, oh, well, pain's gone. I'm good now.
Because that's what most people think about. And I think also too, a lot of people, they go to the chiropractor once and they think that's the end all be all. Oh, I'm fixed, I'm healed.
Yeah,
This is years of you deteriorating your body.
correct.
So it's gonna take years to restore
Sure.
something at
Yeah,
least.
you do it
So-
all.
So it goes to show.
You're not gonna get back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need a chiropractor
Right.
because when I work out, I'm always misaligned.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like hips or
It's
like,
back-
especially when I work on shoulders. Like if I do a lateral raise, my left shoulder elevates more than my right, and I have no fucking
so
idea.
here's the cool thing. So what you want to do is you want to do it like a postural assessment. The easiest way to do this is put your shorts on, you do it naked, whatever you want to do. Stand in front of a mirror. Close your eyes, march in place maybe 5 times. Move your head back and forth, open your eyes, and look at your posture. That will be repeatable every time you do it. So you're going to notice, okay, I have maybe a right head tilt. Maybe I have a high right shoulder. So if I'm your mirror right now, I see this,
Mhm.
right? So that's going to be largely repeatable. And then when you get into those periods where you're truly taxing yourself, lateral races, whatever, background muscle tone takes over and you go right back to it. But now people will say like, well, man, I have tendonitis in this shoulder and I have nothing wrong with your shoulder. It's the actual structure. Structure dictates function every single time.
Wow.
So if you hold that structure for long enough and tax it like you are, like how many people are going to train that hard? Very, very few. That is stress in and of itself. With a compromised structure, you start to get a breakdown of the tissue.
Wow.
Simple as that.
Wow.
So you correct it. So that's not one adjustment. It's an actual biomechanical change of the structure.
Okay, and one thing with chiropractors, they're like, who would benefit from like spinal decompression?
So
Me.
yeah,
I definitely.
And is
Yeah,
it
so dude, this is
beneficial for everybody?
so this is a great question, and I fucking go back and forth on this all the time. So downstairs we have that reverse hyperextension machine, right? So invented by Louis Simmons, West Side Barbell, popularized by all those guys, and they'll be the first to say like this, it decompresses the spine. Like it doesn't. So true decompression in your discs. So you think you have vertebra, disc, vertebra, disc. In those discs, when they become compromised, their pressure increases. So much like you measure blood pressure in millimeters of mercury, those discs are under a pressure.
Okay.
As they start to bulge and or herniate, the pressure goes up. Decompression is actually getting those numbers, that pressure back down, lowering those numbers. So phenomenal if you think about it. Now, when you go to do things like, you're training, you're lifting up, a thing of laundry, like when you compress that, you're adding more pressure to a compromised disc, you exacerbate the problem. So people that can benefit from true decompression, and you can either do that with a machine, non-surgical, or with a scalpel. You cut it away, right? Not great. So the science behind that is not great. But really the people that can go through that protocol are the ones that have true disc issues. So herniations, bulges. Now, if you just want to distract the spine, which is what we have downstairs, you can hang with something.
I was gonna say dead hangs. I usually do
Dead
that.
hangs, you can do that. Inversion hangs, that's distraction. It's not decompression because no, because what will happen is to achieve decompression, you can't have any type of contraction around it. So if you think about it, before you're setting up for a deadlift, you tense up, right? You pull all that air in, and it's like you're bearing down, like you're trying to go to the bathroom, right? That increases, it's called intrathecal pressure. It's the pressure inside of the spinal column. It stabilizes everything, like your core, like that makes you tight, but it increases the pressure in the discs as well. So to achieve that, you can't have any muscular contraction. So if you do a reverse hyper, if you do an inversion hang, most people can't do that and just completely relax. There's going to be some level of like
Tense. Yeah.
correct? So you're driving those pressures up. You can't achieve decompression. Distraction, you're distracting it, but you can't achieve decompression. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
everybody
Yeah,
will benefit from it, but one is completely different from the other.
Wow.
It's like, so you think about long axis traction, like
Okay.
you've seen the pictures of that, like in old medical journals where they had like the rack and they're pulling people apart. If I were to grab your arm, Dwan, pull it, you tense up and you pull back.
Mhm.
Same thing if you're using a reverse hyper or if you're doing inversion. There's going to be a level of tense there, rigidity.
So
that
it's
you
not
can't-
true decompression.
correct.
Wow.
It's not. And then
But
What
it
a
is
myth.
beneficial.
100%.
Just not. It's
it is
not
beneficial. It's just
okay.
not going to achieve the desired outcome. So with
Long term.
decompression, and you have those patients that you'll evaluate on an MRI, not an X-ray, but an MRI. So
Okay.
you see that discrepancy there over time as that is decompressed. It retracts the tissue, it pulls it back. So if you have a bulge or herniation, it can pull it back. And then type 2 collagen fibers are going to grow around the outside of the disc and it heals it. That's how it works.
Wow.
Can't do that with just distraction. Never going to work.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I got a random question now.
Fire.
It might not be directed to exactly what we're speaking about, but what are some things that you've noticed when you watch individuals work out and you won't say this to them, but you're
I
like,
know
ah,
you see some stuff.
Man.
fuck.
With the back, like
There
when they
she goes.
squatting with the bar. I
Not
know
only
you've
did
seen
they shoot
some.
themselves, but
Deadlifts. I know you've
Buddy.
seen some.
So and it's funny, I don't see as much of it here. And I think that's just
Go to
because
Planet Fitness. No, let me stop.
so
Go to
when
those
when I'm down in Florida,
Yeah.
so I train, it's called eSporta. So I think it was in LA Fitness at one
They were
point.
commercial gym. Yeah.
Yep. It is a dumpster fire. Like I walk around and I just cringe between watching people and like what they're doing. So it's amazing at how resilient your spine is. What your spine does not like
Yeah.
is flexion and rotation at the same time.
Mhm.
So you can deadlift
Mhm.
and you can have a rounded back and still be strong as hell and really not compromise yourself.
Mhm.
But then you start to add in things, Joe, like you said, like, okay, well, I'm noticing like I do a lateral raise and this one shoulder is higher than the other, and you might have a thoracic rotation. So now I rotate my chest, my thorax one way, and I have that rounded spine when I deadlift. Like that's a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
And it's the same things when people say, like, what'd you do to hurt your back? Like, I didn't do anything. I bent down
I tweaked
and I
it. That's
picked up
every-
a sock and I
tweaked it.
turned
Yeah.
like, that's it. The aberrant structure was already there. You just did some innocuous activity to actually just exacerbate the problem.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it is common that I see that. And man, there are some people just don't know how to train. Like, and that's
Yeah.
like
I
you-
think a lot of people also don't understand the anatomy of their body.
no.
They don't understand that when you hurt
No.
something, you're going to compensate and overcompensate
Yep.
on other body parts. So you're like, oh, well, it started in my back, but now my shoulders hurt.
Exactly.
Oh, because now your shoulders are doing extra work.
Sure.
Everything's connected.
Yes.
So yeah, I think a lot
I
of people
think
are
in the
taught
gym,
the
the
anatomy.
false pretense turns into if I can pack weight on this, I'm doing it.
Oh,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How masculine
That's the
can I
false
be? Can I move
pretense.
weight?
Like,
Yeah.
hey, you put the weight on there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so-
see.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people squat, right? They do they do barbell squats.
Mhm.
So when it comes to the movement itself, is it more like detrimental or beneficial? And does it come down to the actual form? Like even if you're doing proper form, I would still say it puts some type of stress on your lower back.
Yeah,
No.
but so that your spine,
Mm-hmm.
it loves compressive loads.
Oh, it does.
It does. So your discs are avascular, so they don't have a blood supply,
Okay.
right? So you say like, well, how does it get? Because it needs nutrition, right? Something's got to feed it. So, and they're watery. So you have if you think of a disc, if a disc looks like the coffee lid cover here, on the outer portion of it, they're called annular fibers, and it's very very thick and structured. It keeps the inner material in. Then you have the nucleus and the inside of that disc, which is fluid. So when that fluid starts to migrate towards the outside, towards those thick connective fibers, and they start to break down, that's where you get your herniations and or bulges and or extrusions,
Okay.
right? That's the thing. But those discs need that compressive load. It's called imbibition. When you press them down, it pushes the fluid out. And when you decompress or distract, it's like an accordion, pulls it back in. So it needs that nutrition. So, all the stuff that we do in here
Oh, wow.
is great. And people will
Interesting.
say that like, well, man, I got bad knees. I don't want to do a full range of motion. I don't want compressive load. I don't want to do a leg press. Like that's the worst thing that you can do. That's one of the best things that you can do. It's going to hurt initially when you do it, but that cartilage in your knee, it needs those compressive forces. It doesn't like shearing forces.
Yeah.
So you're seeing people that'll press and they're going to rotate their, they're
Yeah.
going from adduction to abduction and that they're all over the place. Like you want to eliminate that, but
Wow.
we want the compressive load.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what it sounds like you're saying
Gotta
is that
do
the
it,
body,
Joe.
the body is made.
You know what you do? We got to get
the,
right.
So what you're saying is the body is really made to go through a lot of pressure.
Oh man,
and we're
Yeah.
built to
100%.
go through struggle and like
So
100%.
interesting.
and then with heavy loads, does it also build bone density?
Yes, absolutely it does.
I think
So
that's
heavy lifting does build bone
bone
It
density.
does.
density. And
So
it helps.
so when and especially with women, like one of the biggest things. So osteoporosis is really going to affect more women than it does men. Men can be affected by it, absolutely, but predominantly it's going to be more geared towards women. But if you can gain bone density while you have the opportunity, you do it. So you can take all the drugs, Fosamax, everything else to help build bone density. The number one thing over time that's been shown to build the most bone density is weight bearing activity.
That's why you find people a lot older. They are completely fragile. One, because they didn't work out. So
terrible.
the older you get, you lose muscle mass and
Yep.
the density. But now your bones are fragile. So this is why you hear that old lady who stepped up the stairs and she broke her pelvis. I'm like, well, she just walked up the stairs.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
You
Then.
have to. I mean, you have to, and you can't treat the body with kid gloves. I mean, you have to be smart about it.
Right.
Like I'm not going to take an 80-year-old.
But you're built to go through some shit. Like, come on, girl, push yourselves.
You
Like,
absolutely
you're
are.
meant to go through some stuff.
You're less fragile
So-
than what you think you are.
So man, you enlightened us a lot
did,
today,
yeah.
man. I had no idea
Like,
about
I'm
most of
sucking
it.
up knowledge right now.
Yeah,
Went
I
in
mean,
there.
damn, what other
Need
questions
that.
do you guys have for
Man,
Robert?
Can I train with you?
Listen, he puts in
And we
work.
need your card. We need your information. Because
He puts in some work. man.
Yeah.
He puts in some work.
Absolutely.
As of right now, I have no other questions because I think I'm just pondering, and we have a lot that we can definitely look back and just
Yeah.
reflect on. But this is definitely not the first.
No, man, I love it.
Most
This is actually really enjoyable. Like,
Yeah.
and the majority of the time, it's like now it's
You
four
know
guys
what?
trying.
One
to figure
last
it out.
question.
Like, just throwing shit back and forth. Like
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
enjoyable.
Good.
I wanted to ask you because he talked about sleeping on his stomach in the back. What about sleeping? Is there a proper
What's the
way
best-
to sleep?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
question.
your
that
left
right
side.
there. Because I ain't gonna lie, I've had some good sleep and just woke up and was like, oh, but I slept
Yeah.
great. Up here, no, I'm dead
You
serious.
also in your 40s, bro. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
Yeah.
playing.
So don't get punched.
I'm
in the
also
mouth.
an old head.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
Here's the thing with sleep, and you'll hear people go back and forth and say like, oh, this is an orthopedic approved mattress, and like it doesn't. You sleep how you're comfortable.
Mm.
But that having been said, you need to sleep to where you can keep your body relatively in its anatomical normal, right? So if you're a side sleeper,
Mhm.
right?
It's me.
Okay, so you're a side sleeper. When you sleep on your side, what you're going to do is if your pillow is too thick, so you're a wide dude, right? Both of you. If you sleep on your side, your pillow's too thin and and you sleep on your left, you're gonna have a left head tilt
Yes.
over time,
Yes.
right? If your pillow's too thick, you're gonna have a right head tilt.
There you go.
So you just need to try to minimize those things. So then you're gonna have somebody look and say like, man, how thick am I from my ear to my shoulder to where I can lie on my side and my head is relatively neutral with my spine.
Mhm.
Like that's how you pick and choose these things. Like
I
hip,
fold my pillow in half.
yeah. So
I have a light pillow, so I just fold it in half, and it makes a perfect
So
height.
with
Is it better to sleep on your back? Straight back now.
ideally, but I can't like I've
I
had
can't
this.
sleep on-
Yeah,
I know that-
nah,
I
come
can't,
on.
but
But my girl was like,
might be better.
my girl always told me,
Sit.
you can't sleep on your back. I snore way worse.
Yeah, I mean
when I
you
do that.
can't.
So I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's difficult to do. So you try to minimize the insult, right? So that's the best way to go about it. And then when you're on your side, also you think about like what's going to happen, with your legs. So typically one leg is going to come over, and now your pelvis is rotated. So you can use a pillow in between there to kind of keep that stable. But you sleep in the position that's going to give you the most productive recuperation,
Mhm.
and then you just try to minimize the hazards associated with that aberrant position.
And then never
Yeah.
forget, turn off the damn TV.
Oh man, yo,
Turn
we
off
gotta
that
talk,
TV.
And
brother.
then
Mhm.
Like,
and then
Mhm.
I'll just ask one final question. What would be your advice to people that, have been training a long time but that want to continue training for longevity into their 40s, into their
Yeah.
50s, into their 60s?
absolutely.
What would be the one piece of advice you would give them?
Man, so is this gonna be a structural thing, or are we looking more towards like a solution thing to keep them bringing their asses back? Because I will say this,
Mhm.
not everybody are wired like you and I. Like
Understood.
that's very rare, right?
Correct.
Like I just enjoy the suffering.
Yeah.
You talk to the average person, they're like, man, I hate
You
that.
run
I don't
from
wanna
it.
go to the gym.
You run from pain.
Yeah. So are we talking more along the lines like preservation of structure or the compliance and continuing long term?
We'll go the compliance.
Okay. So for me, it's all about motivation is ridiculous.
I agree with you.
Motivation is bullshit. Motivation is tied to the shiny object. So like it's ego seeking, right?
Correct.
So the next thing that comes up that's like, oh man, this like okay, the workout's done. Like I'm going on to this, right? We got Eagles tickets. Like forget that. I'm not going to train legs on some. Like I'm going to go tailgate, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's tying it to purpose. So you got to find your true purpose. And I'll have this discussion with patients, clients. What's the purpose? And they'll say like, it's this. All right, go about 7 levels deeper than that.
Mm.
Like purpose is going to be tied to something like you're afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Like you're afraid of your spouse and your family like not being able to exist without you. Like, that's fucking purpose. It should be soul shaking.
Yeah.
Once you establish that purpose, then you need to look towards the next step. So you got purpose, I just lost my train of thought there. So you have purpose, and then you're going to go to priorities. It's got to be one priority.
Mhm.
So it's not multiple, because when you have multiple, you just can't get anything done. That purpose is tied to a singular priority. That priority, like making it to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
that then governs the action steps. Like, how are you going to control that? So, purpose, priority, action. So, and one
Nice.
dictates the other. And
Absolutely.
without it, like if you're just working on motivation, it's not
Yeah.
going to happen. It's not there.
That's why people quit
Yep.
during their New Year's resolution because of
Yeah,
It's gotta
motivation.
kind of be
Yeah,
a part of you.
that's done.
You think it's gotta kind of be a part of you? Something you just do.
Yeah, that takes, I mean, it
You have
takes
to make it. I think
Like
you
some
have-
people
I
say
think you
that
have
if
to
I
make
go
it a
to the
part of
gym,
you.
I don't feel
No.
right.
Yeah, you have to
It
make
is-
it part of you.
it is
whether you like
is
it or not. Yeah.
completely intentional, and it requires a lot of introspection to come up with
Sure.
purpose. And for me, that's
Yeah.
changed over
Over
the
the
years. So what my true purpose is of why I'm here at 5:45 on a Saturday morning when it's 14 degrees outside,
Mm.
like I don't want to train legs. Like that's the last thing I want to do. But like,
Can't feel them.
yeah, like man,
Can't feel
I'm
them. It's
here
14
because I know
degrees.
when I go through
Yeah.
that level of suffering,
Mm.
I'm creating the best version of myself where I can deliver the best type of care to my wife and daughter. Like
Yeah,
that's
man.
my
And
Wow.
that's where I'm
it's
now.
powerful.
And that's what it is
That's
to be a man.
it's a genuine answer
It
that
is.
you gave.
That's what it is to be a man, folks.
You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
It's-
Listen, we appreciate you being here, man. You opened my eyes. I
Did
won't
you?
speak for that, but
I
you opened my eyes
appreciate
to a lot.
Smelling
I thought
salt.
my stomach sleeping was a big issue here.
No.
But,
It was
Not
so
at all.
many myth busters you did in
Yeah,
here,
man.
yeah,
A
man.
lot. Thank you
The
so
wool
much,
has
bro.
been over
Yeah.
our eyes.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pleasure's mine.
Thank you guys for watching. Be blessed. Much love. Peace.